Hello, vinyl community. Hello, YouTube watchers. Everybody out there that hope you're having a good day. I would like to do a recent finds video. I have my little baby here. This is Hope. She is our new puppy that we got. And she's just as cute as can be. Say hi, Hope. Hello. Hello. All right, let's get into the records here. Starting off again with the Japanese psych that I love so much and I've been buying so much lately. I finally went out and got Satori. This is the Flower Traveling Band. This is their second album under that name, and it is a very, very good album. I knew it. I've been listening to it on YouTube and such, but I finally got it for myself. It's on a beautiful red vinyl. Can't really see it too well in the package, but there it is. And that's their label. Of course, it's Phoenix Records, who does so much of the Japanese psych that I've bought. What can I say? They were around for a long time, or actually, they've been playing for a long time. The band itself was from about '67 to mid '70s, and this record was released in '71. So, yes, it's got some sitar in there. It has, you know, a lot of the fuzz of the psychedelic, you know, the guitars, but it's good straight up rock and roll in only their fashion. So next up, this is a couple albums I've had for a little while. I haven't gotten around to showing them, but this is from a group called Epitaph. They are a mix of UK and German members in the band. The lead singer is from the UK, and then pretty much most of the band, I believe, is from Germany. They've had a few different members come and go from the band, but they formed in '69. This album was released in '71 also. They had dual guitars. They definitely had that 70s rock sound, but there's also, you know, that tinge of psych in here, and it's just great rock and roll. The problem is if you try to go out and find this album, you would find it very difficult. They haven't reissued the first two records, and or at least not officially. This one, I think unofficially they had a release, but it's hard to find these. Originals like this are well over $100, but you know, if you really wanted something exciting and different, Epitaph is great. Now, the third album that they made. They came over to the United States, and they actually made their third album here. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of it is, but it was a black and white cover, and you'll see that album around quite a bit. But these first two albums that I'm showing you were from Germany. They were pressed overseas, and this is their second album. And like I said, they're extremely rare, hard to find. They were on Polydor, or Polygram. This is Polydor. And these are beautiful, beautiful, clean copies. So you say, Bill, if they're so rare, how did you get your hands on a pair of albums so rare and hard to find? My dog ran off with the cover of the sleeve. I had the great luck of buying a collection from a gentleman who had a beautiful collection. All the records were near mint condition, and he had a lot of rare records from Europe and such. And I was just lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time, and I got them both, along with quite a few other great albums that are in my collection. All right, next up is a record that I have spent over 10 years anyhow to try to find again. I had the record when I was young. It is such a great record, and I finally found somebody selling one for the right price that I could handle, and that of course is the record Road. And everyone knows that Noel Redding, from Jimi Hendrix Experience, he was on this album, bass player, and it's on Natural Resources label, and yeah, this is a great rock and roll. I mean, it's just in your face, psychedelic, hard rock and roll. I mean, the wah-wah is just prominent in so many of the songs, you know, straight, hard, heavy fuzz guitar, and like I said, it's one of those albums I've been looking for a long time, and I finally got it in my collection. I'll probably play it every night for a couple of weeks until I start getting tired of it, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. And then, like I said, that was pretty much a one and done for the group that got together to make that album. And so is it for this particular band here. Bare Soul was a great psychedelic hard rock group, and they had been touring around the UK. They're from the UK, and they were really getting good, but you know, they wanted to put together an album. So they went into the studios and they recorded this album on tape, and a guy from Decca was just very excited to have found these guys and to meet them, you know, and so they sent a copy of the record to Decca, and when the president or the people at Decca got the tape and, you know, they listened to it, and for whatever reason, they didn't want it. They wanted to move on with a new sound. This was in 1970. I think Decca was looking for something a little bit newer, maybe something in the vein of you know, maybe David Bowie or something like that. And so they turned him down. And the guys were just, first off, you know, they were shocked because everybody had built them up, and they actually believed in themselves and believed that, you know, this album was a great album, but it never was put on vinyl. They took the tape and they put it away up in the top shelf, and the drummer ended up getting married right away. He had been engaged for a while, so he got married, and the rest of the guys said, well, you know, we need to get back to work since, you know, the deal fell through with Decca, and so they all went right back. They went into, you know, doing, you know, physical labor jobs, you know, basically getting out of the music business, and never even put on vinyl until I think it was 1970, and or I mean, it was like, no, it was, anyhow, it was like 35 years later, in 1970. So after 2000, that it was ever even put on vinyl. It is so good, though, that it was a shame that these guys, you know, broke up and got out of the business. Now, not to sound like a broken record, but this group is awesome, and they were one and done. Huckleberry Munyan was a group of young kids, basically right out of high school. They got together. Boy, you know, they had a great sound, hard rock. You know, this was more of a straight up hard rock sound, maybe. But there was, you know, some really good fuzz guitar in here too. Boys are out of Massachusetts. They headed to New York to create this record. They only had like 2 days in the studio to do it, so they were kind of rushed through, but they got all the music, you know, that they needed for the record, but they was planning on going back and doing some finish up and some overdubbing and you know, get the record so that it was presentable to, you know, to put on vinyl. But the people that was in charge in New York went right out and they pressed what they had there on tape, put it on the vinyl records. They gave it the name, Just Like You, made up this cover, which was different from the one they had planned, and released it. So the guys were upset, but there wasn't much they could really do. It was already released and it was already selling, at least locally, and So that's kind of how it went down. But and this was all back in 1970 also. One of the guys got drafted. That was it. And he got drafted, and so that was another thing that they had to wait for him to get out of the Navy. But when he got out in the Navy, they did do a lot of touring, you know, playing there locally. They had a good local following, but they never made it big in the, you know, nationally or anything. But so anyhow, all these records are just straight up great. They all have my approval. That Huckleberry Munyan, that's an album that I think I first heard it from Dylan over at Noble Records, and you know, when I listened to it, you know, it was really good. So I knew that if I could, I was hoping to find it, and I did. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and hoping I say good night, and see you next time. Bye-bye.